Not everyone can be happy about the future, especially where there are still so many missing pieces when it comes to fully understanding how we got there. Welcome back, Nerd Squad. I am loving a lot of DC's future state personally, but today it's time to look at some of the flip side and take a look at the top 10 worst things to happen within it. Whether they be bad in the way that, we just don't really get it or feel it, or bad in the way that they're just too tragic or awful for us to bear. Because as always, with a lot of great, badass, and uplifting moments, we also have to have some dark, horrific, and downright puzzling ones too, where we're like, I don't know about that. It's what makes those standout stories and characters just so much better, because comparison is a thing. Alright, now let's get counting. Number 10, Death of Dee Dee. In the future state glimpse into Gotham City Sirens, we are introduced to a new member of the team in issue number 1 of the next Batman. For those who are unaware, actually, there are a slew of amazing extra stories that come in this comic, and pretty much all of them are good. While I would say that Gotham City Sirens is maybe the weakest of these, it's still a really good story, so that's not even like an insult to it. But there is a very tragic and heart-wrenching moment that might also infuriate you in this story. The newest member of the team is Dee Dee, an AI droid who was made in the future by a very shady businessman. Exposing Dee Dee's creator for his problematic practices could topple the magistrate's reign. So Catwoman and Poison Ivy bring her into the fold and team up with the AI, and they have like an awesome girls' night out, which is the whole plot, but anyways. However, after we get to know and love Dee Dee on this girls' night out, it's revealed that she is not destined to stay with the group, and in the end, she sacrifices herself to help Gotham and her new friends. Hopefully, if we get some future Gotham City Sirens stories, DC can somehow find a way to feature Dee Dee in those stories, like working alongside the team again. Or maybe if we go past this future, they'll be able to bring her back with her memory. Otherwise, I feel like I was duped into loving a neat new character who I'll just never see again. I hate that. I hate when people are like, look at this cool new character, and you're like, oh, is this gonna be oh, no, they're dead. Okay, never mind. Cool. Number 9, Bat Cat Reunited? How could this be a worse thing? I know you're thinking. Wouldn't that be good, Amanda? Well, because these two, it seems, were only brought back together to be ripped asunder once more. How tragic. My heart. Catwoman tells a story of Selina trying to pull off a train heist where she is looking to free the magistrate's captured criminals. In issue 1, while she found Automatopoeia, it was revealed that Talia al Ghul, also on the train, found Bruce Wayne. In issue number 2, Bruce manages to see that Selina is on the train via a monitor in security. Not only does he show up to help save the day, but then he and Selina also have a touching reunion. Always hair in my mouth. Honestly, if you're a fan of the Bat-Cat relationship, issue 2 of Catwoman is for you. You need to read it. There are a lot of great moments exploring what Bruce means to Selina. Despite being reunited, ultimately, Batman decides to split from Catwoman, knowing if they stay together, she'll forever be on the run and in danger. Even more so than usual, I guess. Can't you just be on the run together? Why you gotta split up? And friends, before we move on to this next spot, just a reminder, if you are enjoying DC Future State as much as us, or even if you're not enjoying it, give this video a thumbs up. We really love talking about it with you, and yeah, it also lets us know that you like when we talk about events and event adjacent things. Number 8, the question is... I hope you've clicked ahead if you didn't want this revealed, by the way, because I'm about to reveal who the question is. The question is... Deadman? Wait, what? I don't think this is actually the worst of the worst things to happen, but I just felt that it was kind of random. I mean, maybe there were clues and I missed them in Shazam issue 1 to lead me to this revelation. And if you loved this reveal, feel free to let me know in the comments below if you disagree with me, because hey, I didn't hate it, I just didn't love it, and I would love to hear about why people love it. In Shazam issue number 2, we learn of the question's true identity after it's already been established previously in Shazam that the identity of the question is a complete mystery. Ooh, we don't know who it is, who will it be? Which is usually a good time. I personally think I like when the question is super mysterious and we actually don't know who it is. I don't need a reveal. In fact, I would have even been cool for this to not be revealed in Future State. The true identity of the question could then be kept a mystery and it could unfold in maybe a new question series. I don't know. But hey, that's just me. Number 7, Billy gives up his life. In Shazam issue number 1, we learn of what happened to Shazam following him leaving the Teen Titans. He appears to have somehow gotten out of the Rock of Eternity, but Raven is nowhere to be seen. So, what happened? Well, it turns out Shazam made a deal to get free and act as a hero on Earth, while Billy took his place as guard in the Rock of Eternity, having the spirit that was needed to do so, because it's Billy Batson. What does this mean? Billy basically gave up his whole life to protect the world, acting as a guardian, while Shazam lives on Earth as a hero in this place. Now, I put hero in quotes because, well, Shazam doesn't really end up acting so heroic without Billy there to kind of guide him. But that's a whole other story. I could do a whole separate point on that. Well, it's later revealed Billy doesn't end up stuck there forever. He was still there for who knows how long, and him even agreeing to act as guardian without Shazam, it turns out was an all-around really bad move. Who are better together, they're not so good if you separate them. Yikes. Number 6, Teen Titans Academy. So, we've got some good news and we got some bad news here. The Teen Titans come together in this possible future to start their own academy to train young heroes and even recruit some of the other non-Titans DC heroes as faculty. Yay! And guess what? We will actually get to explore this future as a reality in the Teen Titans Academy comic series. Bad news? Oh yeah, the bad news. The Academy gets blown apart and tons of their superhero students and staff die during its destruction. Yikes. That's how we set the scene for Future State Teen Titans issue number 1. One of the bleakest states of all the series to come about so far, in my opinion. One of being the keywords there. Number 5, Jace's missing backstory. This is something that has bothered me less as we've got to know Jace, aka Tim Fox, Luke's brother, aka Batman right now, but I also feel like it would have helped a lot of people get on board with our next Batman earlier on in his series if we had sort of found out more, because Jace is a lesser known character who has a history that in this continuity is almost like unwritten. It's hard for us as readers to connect with who he is as a character. There are little details you can pick up about him as you read, like in Justice League when we learned that he likes to hum his own little soundtrack to himself while fighting, which I loved as a little tidbit, but you really need to dig or just be paying close attention to get those details. After all, that detail didn't even come from his own book, but from a team book that he is featured in, right? I just want to know more about what being Batman means to Jace, why it's important, and I would love some more hints as to how it kind of all came about. But now, the next Batman is done, so I guess hopefully we'll get more of it in another book and we'll get to see more of Jace's Batman, because I did like it. I was just like, give me some reasons that I can, get really connected to the character and like love who they are as a person outside of the persona. Number 4, Amanda Waller's plan. This is a big yikes for me, friends. In Future State Suicide Squad, we're introduced to a whole new squad that seems to be impersonating established heroes, or taking on the role of those mantles legitimately, but not necessarily of their own volition. This is simply because they are a part of Amanda Waller's new version of the Suicide Squad, the Justice Squad. Although a lot of them do actually want to redeem themselves and be good people. And then there is one exception, actually Connor Kent, who seems to be super interested in embodying his role as Waller's Superman. We also find out that the squad are attempting to help Waller in some kind of mysterious mission that she is on. Considering her plan B is to bring back the crime syndicate using the Black Lantern ring, the mission Project Home Base is probably one of the worst ones she has come up with yet, because that's her plan B. To be like, oh, I'll just bring back the crime syndicate and make them do this. Regardless, our heroes, the Justice Squad, have no choice but to follow her lead, die trying or die refusing. Number 3, Wally becomes Famine. If you've been watching our coverage of DC Future State over here, you probably guessed we were going to go to this point. Why is Wally becoming one of the 4 horsemen one of the worst things, you might be wondering? Well, because it's the opposite of what Wally West fans want. People who love Wally West love him because he's just such a good guy. We love Wally for Wally, and the last big events featuring him prominently when he finally did return to us feel like they have been moving him further further and further away from the person we all love. Future State was supposed to be a chance to challenge the status quo, and making Wally a villain again, albeit a very remorseful one on the inside from what I've seen, just isn't actually doing that for the character. You're not reinventing him. We've already done that. Personally, I feel like bringing back the whole West family somehow in Future State would be really cool, or just do something completely new with him. Villainous Wally has been done, and a lot of people were not feeling it when it did happen, and so they still aren't. Family Man Wally, that's what I want. Number 2, the timeline. One of the worst things to happen in Future State for most people is this wacky timeline we were thrown into. Nothing is happening in order, and it's kind of hard to tell where in the timeline of Future State you are when you're reading something. I personally find this to be like a kind of fun mystery. I like to piece it together myself, but for many other readers, they find it weird and confusing. And I get that. There is also the problem of the more Future State you read, the more you kind of get the big picture of what's going on in this reality. But if you want to try and understand that without reading everything, good luck to you, because you kind of got to read everything to get the bigger picture. For some, this makes the pseudo event more enjoyable, but for others, not so much. Fortunately, there are some resources out there online if you do need to know the order of everything. But the other worst thing to happen, or not happen really, with Future State is that we likely won't know what's being kept as continuity till after the event is done. That's the tricky part of glimpsing into possible futures. Some of them will also become impossible in our current continuity, depending on which path we go down, which also might muddy up the timeline in the long run. Number 1, Raven is free. If you've been following Future State, especially the Teen Titans stuff, you'll know how awful this is. For some context, we learn in Teen Titans Future State issue 2 that Raven ends up defeating the Four Horsemen, one of the biggest bads of the Future State timeline, it would seem, so far anyways. But we also learn that in order to do so, she had to take those entities within herself, meaning that she is now one of the most evil and dangerous beings on the planet. Fortunately, Shazam had a solution, and he ends up taking her to the Rock of Eternity and plans on basically staying there forever in his Shazam form to guard Raven. But, and yes, there's a big but coming, in issue 2 of Shazam, we discover that Necron managed to devise a plot to basically get Raven freed, which honestly means that one of the worst threats we've seen this whole event is now going to be coming to Earth. So everyone better watch out. What do you think have been some of the worst moments in DC Future State? And what awful happenings have left you shook? Let us know in the comments below. This has been Top 10 Nerd, and I'm your host, Amanda McKnight, saying thank you so much for watching and reminding you to stay nerdy, YouTube.